Racing manager Matt Jukich back at you here from Century Mile. Another special guest. We talked before opening week. Big Friday night coming up, though. We got Scott McCord from the Bear Rocks and the Bear 100.3. Scott, you like to
Coming to
wait.
you live from the basement today, which is where I do all of my best thinking, all of
Perfect.
my best betting, I got my thinking cap on today. It's nice and cool down here too. So actually, you know what? That might be something to bring up. We've had some pretty so-so weather here in Edmonton. I wonder how much that's going to affect this Pick-4 for at least, you or I.
I'm definitely hoping we do not get much more rain the next few hours. It is Thursday afternoon here. It
Sure.
really rained the last 2 days here. The track's pretty wet. It is a great draining track, though. So I think if we can get some decent weather, some wind kick up, we can get this thing dried up by post time on Friday night. So
That'd be fantastic.
I do like the basement there. I'm a little disappointed there's no brown liquor shelf in the background. And you have the one in the upstairs, but you got to make do.
Sorry,
so.
man.
We got
some work to do here.
We got some work to do. Hopefully, take home lots of money on Friday night. Pick-4 starts in race number 5. And the special part about this Pick-4, kind of rare to have this big of a carryover after just one day, but with all of the off-track play coming in and a $500,000 wager tonight here at least, we had a $20,000 Pick-4 carryover. Actually, $20,845 will be carried over into that pool. So what that means is that money is dead. That money's in the pool to be taken home on Friday night by whoever wins this ticket. The appeal is whatever it might pay normally, now it's going to pay that much more, whether it's 1.5 times, 2 times more than it normally should pay. So there should be some great value here with a 15% takeout and $20,000 in the pool. We'd have to wager over $100,000 in new money, or else you're playing rake free, which is a huge bonus. So McCord, let's dive into this Pick-4. Again, last 4 races on the card. We start in race number 5. Let's start with the rail horse here. I think is the key to the sequence, Broadway Bonnie for Tim Rycroft.
I would absolutely say that's the listen. This has got to be the first domino to tumble for you on this Pick-4, just based on the fact that I'm looking at Copper Fox at 7-2 for Tom Rycroft, a great horse, but at the same time, we talked about this last week. That's a horse that's also looking at a 7-month layoff. So much of this is always speculative, obviously, when you're looking at a Pick-4. The more data you have, the better. But after a 7-month layoff, anything can sort of happen with that. So, I mean, I got to stick with Broadway Bonnie. That's just an absolutely deadly horse coming out of the one spot there. Do you think if it is a muddy track? I mean, I haven't looked at the 24-hour forecast here. Do you think that's going to affect coming out of the gate or speed on a horse like Broadway Bonnie?
It's going to affect her just the fact that she hasn't faced it before. So her only 2 dirt tries have come this year at Assiniboia, where she was second to a pretty nice horse there in Miss Imperial.
Sure.
Who's 8 for 18, $300,000 made in her career. She's won at Oakland. She's won at Belmont, Aqueduct, Churchill, twice at Fairgrounds. So really, she's chasing home a really nice horse there in Miss Imperial. Is Broadway Bonnie. Those were her 2 first dirt tries. We thought she could handle it the way she'd worked here. The wet will be a new one. Hopefully it does dry up for her sake anyways. My concern with Broadway Bonnie is the other horse you mentioned there, the 4 Copper Fox, has speed, and at 5.5 furlong, this might be her best chance to beat Broadway Bonnie if she's able to get to the front and just show them her tail the whole way.
Sure, yeah. A Copper Fox, a horse that does like to close strong, and good. And at 7-2 right now, could be a really good price on that heading into the Pick-4. But we'll see what happens here.
Advantage probably to Broadway Bonnie. You mentioned the big layoff for Copper Fox. 2 races this year for Broadway Bonnie. Might have a fitness edge and probably a single on a whole lot of Pick-4 tickets.
Sure.
Race 6, probably a couple you want to key on. Let's have a look at the 3 Pearl of Knowledge. Does have 3 wins to her credit and 2 stakes wins. 1 came in the CTHS sales, which is a restricted race to horses who pass through Canadian CTHS sales rings, and then she won on Fall Classic Day as well. So that doesn't count against her either. So she's really a non-2 in this spot and probably towers over this bunch with Rico Walcott riding the first one here for Greg Tracy.
I also like Flat as a Pancake at the 4 spot too. Great Tim Rycroft horse that showed well in other races, but great out of the gate, finishing strong. Do you worry about maybe though a small sample size on a horse like this? And just in terms of, again, like I said, with the data that we've got, do you look at it and go, have I seen enough from this horse to make a confident pick?
I think it's going to go back to not so much racing experience. She obviously popped the gates on top and just kept going from there at Assiniboia in the career debut. But they took her down to Florida, and she was training down there before she came up to Canada. So they thought enough of her to spend the money to get her down there to get her winter ready. And she has that race, which Pearl of Knowledge doesn't have this year, and has speed, which always kills, especially in these type of races early on in the year. It's probably those two horses and then everybody else. I don't know if you can make a case for too many others in here. Everything's quiet. Does have the race this year. She was fourth as the even money choice. She was chasing around a pretty nice horse. Don't know if you know this story. In Infinite Patience last year at Hastings Race Course. Infinite Patience, of course, owned by Ryan Nugent Hopkins, was 5 for 5 as a 2-year-old at Hastings, and makes her next start over at Woodbine this weekend in the Fury Stakes against straight 3-year-old Canadian bred. So pretty exciting times for the Nuge. We'll see how good Infinite Patience is. She tries her hand over at Woodbine. But
do you in this race, do you rate Edge of Okotoks at all? Are you concerned about the late pace speed there? Do you think you're going to get a good price on a horse like that, or is that just too much of a flyer for you?
I think you're going to get a good price just because the other two are going to take so much money, and Flat as a Pancake and Pearl of Knowledge. Edge of Okotoks also has that run this year. She was third behind Music at Work as the favorite at Assiniboia last time out, and she kind of chased around the best 2-year-olds last year in Alberta in Rail Hugger, Sangria, and that last one. Did finish just behind Pearl of Knowledge when they tangled last time out. So if you're going to get kind of that 9-2, 6-1 on Edge of Okotoks, probably worth a good long look in here. Maybe one, if you can try to beat one of the favorites in here, maybe one to throw in as well in that second leg of the Pick-4. Again, the carryover, $20,845. I think this is where the spread's going to happen, and if the payouts are huge, the next couple races will kind of determine that. How did you shake out the 7th and 8th?
With the 7th, I've got Midnight Shake. It feels like I don't I don't want to speak ill of anybody, but I feel like each horse in this race has some sort of glaring issue outside of Midnight Shake. There's one what if you go down. I don't have to go through every horse, but at least every single one of them maybe go pause for a moment. Okay, I don't know about that. I'm not saying Midnight Shake is a perfect horse by any stretch of the imagination, but when you put all of the elements together, he might not be the best horse in every race, but in this race, he certainly is. Is that a fair statement, do you think?
Totally fair, and I absolutely agree with you that he's the horse to beat in this spot.
Sure.
Good second last time out to Ojo Del Mar, who broke from the outside post and just kept rolling as he went on to win there by a length and a quarter. That was off some pretty good works there for Midnight Shake, so I think he's tighter now second time out, and he kind of got better last year the more races he got into his system, so I wouldn't be surprised to see him take a big step forward today. 9 to 5 in the morning line, Antonio Whitehall's done some good work here since showing up. You got to look around to find Rico, as always. He lands on the 3, code 8, the speedy Carson Fry trainee.
It's true. And I feel like you kind of get the same thing in race number 8 and what you mentioned earlier about a horse that's already had a pretty good start this year and showed well last year, which is the 3 spot made for Saturday. Dale Greenwood horse had a great Sunday last weekend. And I think, again, like you said, Rico Walcott showing really nicely for that 8. I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I think you're going to get a great price on Redneck Remark too, coming at an 8-1. He was in the conversation last race on the 21st. Does a shorter race behoove him maybe a little bit because it was a 6 furlong last time? If we're going 5 on this one, I think you might have something to look at there, something to certainly consider.
I don't think it's going to hurt him at all going back to 5 furlongs. 2 of his wins have come, actually both of his wins have come at this 5 furlong distance. Anastasios Chalaris rode him last time out, was 4th there, beat just 5 1/4 lengths, does shorten up now. Again, gets that race under his belt, can move forward there. There's some speed that's drawn outside of him, which probably won't hurt him too much. So I do actually have your horse covered on my ticket as well before Redneck Remark. I think he'll be a one to have a look at. Made for Saturday. Of course, you want to probably throw whatever Rico's riding. Simple as that. Maybe another and maybe another longer price on the outside. And the 9 Sinin did have some races at Turf Paradise that make him competitive in here. Ran into a couple of next out winners back in January. And if the pace does melt down, it could be Sinin with Rigo Sarmiento that does come and pick up the pieces. As Redneck Mart won't be far away. Made for Saturday has some gas. Phil Power's going to be close. Vernon Cat's going to be close. Wyatt's going to be close.
Sure.
So if they do come back to the rest of the field, maybe Sinin can come up and grab a piece of the 10-1 morning line of price where he does reside currently. So what are you looking for? What do you got? How much spending? Pick-4.
Pick-4, I'm going to spend 24 on this.
Okay, what do you got? First leg, you going to single Broadway Bonnie?
I have to. I mean, I have to. I think it's going to start and end with that horse, Again, Rigo Sarmiento is the jockey too. Is having a great year so far. So I think
Leading
that's
rider
what's
in
gonna go.
2019 here in the mile. So got to
Yeah,
respect wherever
absolutely.
Rigo does land as well.
Into 7, also too, it feels like a one-horse race with Midnight Shake. Race 8, or sorry, I skipped race 5, didn't I? 6 rather.
Flat as a pancake and Pearl of Knowledge.
Yeah, Pearl of Knowledge. If you want to take a flower in Edge of Okotoks, I don't know about it. And then 7, Midnight Shake, and then 8, you're going to have Made for Saturday as well as Redneck Remark.
There it is, the pick 4 from Scott McCord. $24 does get you involved. I'm going to go a little deeper, hoping to cash maybe in the first leg. I think the first leg, Broadway Bonnie's obviously, if you want a single her, I can't fault you at all. But if anybody does beat her, maybe it is Copper Fox with that speed and the quick works this spring so far. So 1 and 4, 3 and 4, that's Pearl of Knowledge and Edge of Okoto, or in the Flat as a Pancake. 3, 5, and 7 in the 7th race for me, and then finishing off with 4, 2, 3, 4, 9. That is $48. So 1, 4 with 3, 4 with 3, 5, 7 with 2, 3, 4, 9. That's $48. That'll get you involved in the pick 4, which goes as race number 5 on Friday night. Races 5, 6, 7, 8. That carryover $20,845. Hoping we can crest $100,000 in new cash. I think we've had all week to get the information out. People have had a chance to look at it. We drew on Sunday, so really no excuse for people not to get involved. Not a ton of tracks going at that time either. So if you're playing locally, definitely have a look at this wager. The pool should be a big one, probably one of the biggest pick 4s in Alberta in quite some time. Thanks for taking the time, McCord.
Shane Sugar now, man. That's great. We got the call from Shane Sugar, and I'm absolutely loving that.
Sugar back in the booth last weekend, of course, very popular in Alberta when he was here a few years ago. The next guy after him was not very good, so it's good that Sugar's back. But should be a fun night here at the mile. 8 race card, 2 quarter horses kick things off. Pick 5 carryover of 13,000. Pick 4 is a big one though, 20,845. That goes in race number 5. Good luck. You got your tickets. Hopefully we can get some guys some cash here, Scott.
Yeah, wouldn't be bad. Okay, good luck, everybody.
Good luck.